Oh, I was kind of hoping for a smoother transition. Okay, I think we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special live stream webinar from Modal Electronics. My name is James, and I'm going to be your host today. And we are going to have quite a bit of fun. In front of me is, well, I suppose up here is Ableton Live 10. And I have kind of a small project template and a beat started here. And today we are going to do some progressive house audio production as well as sound design. And this is going to be on Cobalt 8 for the most part. I think Cobalt 8 is a fantastic synth to do progressive house with. Let me just clarify what progressive house is, just for everyone who might not be completely familiar with it, because when I was DJing and kind of starting producing in like 2006-ish and onwards, progressive house was like, deadmau5 was becoming popular. Eric Prydz, 16-bit Lolitas, Sasha, Junkie XL, those guys were DJs and doing progressive house. And then those producers I listed just a second ago are some of my all-time favorites. And I think over the years, they've actually managed to stay relevant. And so I thought it would be a cool thing to kind of pull in some of that style and then incorporate it into some of the more recent stuff I've been doing, like synthwave and down tempo and just all sorts of other stuff. So to me, progressive house, I would consider it just like a very open form of dance music. I mean, it can go in all different directions, and I'm going to try and keep this as accessible to everybody as possible. Let me just quick go through what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to pull up an itinerary. Oh, and for those of you who are wondering, here's the setup. All right, we got a Cobalt 8X. I'm going to be using the Argon 8X as the master controller, and over there an Argon 8M and a Cobalt 8M. And let me just pull up the itinerary here, or not the itinerary, but the schedule here. Okay, so first, right, we're going to be doing what I would call the fun part, and then there's a focus part. So we're going to split it into two. The fun is like jam oriented, relaxed, flexible, spontaneous, and you can follow this formula yourself because it's actually a great way to kind of mentally prepare yourself. Where's this? There we go. Because there are kind of, I see production as there are two sides of it, right? There's fun and then there's focus. The fun, as I mentioned, is relaxed, spontaneous, creative. You use your strengths that you have already, and you just jam out, and you get all your ideas down. And then later on, if you're doing well and you want to explore other things that you want to learn, that's when you kind of get the focus and become serious, determined, perceptive, driven. But you're going to make mistakes. In fact, you might fail. We might fail. I might fail today. I might try something new that I haven't done before with a bass or a lead, because we will be creating custom presets, and we'll be using a couple of familiar presets that are already in the Cobalts too, because I think they'll go down well. And so from there, the focus part is when I typically start to actually form a track. But leading up to that, you got to keep the positive mindset if you're going to get good ideas. So that's why I mostly have fun for the first couple hours when I'm making a track, and that's what I'm hoping to show you guys here today. So the first order of business is create a stab or pluck riff and a chord progression. So let's jump into the window here. All right. I'll give you a quick tour of what I got here. I'm using Battery 4 as well as Ableton's drum rack, and then I also go to this little thing up here called splice.com, and that is where I typically get one-hits as well as loops. So creating a nice rhythm bed can take hours sometimes if you really want to make a stellar one. So often I will just go search for stuff that is loops, basically, and I'll filter them, and forgot I can't solo. Or maybe I can. Hold on a sec. There, I'll use that as a solo. Okay. You guys get the idea. So I build just a small collection of sections here, and this is our backing track, right? I'm going to play it for you while I get set up here for with the Cobalt 8X patch here. I'm going to skip past the long part. This is, and for those of you who aren't familiar with progressive house and in the way it's played by DJs, is there's usually a long intro and it kind of progresses more and more with more layers. So I'll just skip to the more interesting stuff here. Here's the fill into the next section. Okay. Okay, so that's the beat, right? We got something strong. You want to have something like that already down, so you're grooving. You're feeling good. That way, as soon as you start to come in with something, you're jamming, right? So I got an LFO tool to duck from the kicks. I'm gonna get rid of this gate just in case. Yeah. Just bring the thread. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm using this thing called LFO tool, or XFer transfer, whatever you want to call it. It's, XFER is the company. It's Deadmau5's company. What this does is it ducks behind the kick drum. I have it set to quarter notes, but it can be 16th notes. And what I'm doing right now is playing a preset from the Cobalt 8 called, I believe, this is called PowerFest 89. So this is a preset somewhere in the Cobalt. I have it kind of saved in my own little section. And so it's ducking the kick, and I'm thinking about doing 16th notes. I probably won't keep it all as 16th notes. I might just do like something like that. You know what? Actually, I was going to show you the settings for syncing stuff. There's a modal minute and I believe a quick dive covering that stuff. So be sure to check that out if you haven't done that already. To get myself more audible, I'm actually going to add a little bit of compression right away. Oh, and speaking of which, before I do that, one last thing. On the master channel, this is not exactly like a rule, and it certainly isn't like common practice for everybody, but I tend to run a limiter on the master, and what that does is it gets the volume much, much higher and gives you kind of a vague preview, a very vague preview, but a somewhat relatively accurate, I suppose, in terms of dynamics. It gives you a preview of what the master would sound like, because dance music is very, very heavily compressed and very processed. So just something to keep in mind. If you want to try that, go ahead. It does add quite a bit of lag, or what do you call it, audio processing delay. Not too bad, but enough. Let's boost up the volume like this. I'm going to have a ratio roughly 3-to-1. Attack, I usually like to have these very long. The larger the attack, the longer the attack, the more sound is getting let through, and the more of a kind of a punch or a pop. If you reduce it, it becomes more of a smack, like, you know. And then if it's fast transients, you're going to want to have short release times. So this is basically, you know, you're going to have a really pretty quick release time. This is more about getting volume than actual punch. All right. We'll just find a good spot to start from. Let's set up a loop on this part right here. I think I was going to select B flat for this. Okay, I think I got it. Oopsies. I'm actually just kind of doing a couple of riffs first. I'm going to show you why I'm doing that. This is sort of the jam part, the easy part. Let's turn on loop. Here we go. Perfect. Okay, I'm going back in here. Now I have the option to leave these notes as you see them, right? Or if I really wanted to, I could go into the Cobalt 8X menu and turn on something called ARP to, sorry about that, hold on. Is it here? I cannot remember. Well, basically it sends the arpeggiator, there we go. It turns the arpeggiator into notes, MIDI notes that are getting sent out. It's funny, I have no problem finding it in that little synth screen on the hardware, but it's here, don't worry. And there's a Modal Minute about it, I believe, too. There it is, right there, ARP sequence out. You could set it to ARP, you could set it to sequence, or both. So that means anytime an ARP or a sequence is playing, instead of you basically holding a note, it'll show up as just one long note of you holding it, like if you were playing a gated sequence or an ARP. Instead, it'll actually show the notes, each note you're playing. So these would be broken up into little fragments, but it's an ARP on here. It's fine. I'm going to keep it as is. I'm just going to quantize them. Control-Shift-U. Yep. It didn't always used to be that way. You used to be able to just press Command-U and it would bring up the menu. Back in my day. Back in the days of Ableton 7. Okay, okay, cool. I think that's about right. Let's dive into here. While that's looping, let's do it somewhere where there's not a crash symbol. There we go. Oops. I should probably drag the whole section, huh? And probably should consolidate it. There we go. Control-J. We're good. Okay. So that'll keep playing. I'm just going to mute that for now. Oh, you know what? Let's do it on even section. There we go. Okay. What I'm doing basically at this point is polishing or editing the patch to a point where I like it and it would fit, right? And then the idea is after that, you go and you record a take live or like a live pass essentially. And so this would be set to the whatever input I'm monitoring, 5 and 6 right here. And I'd be recording it live. Having said this, if you are somebody who is doing audio production or is getting into audio production, think about doing this earlier than later. If you have a project that's full of plugins and full of elaborate transitions and all sorts of, I don't know, my tracks get messy. If you have that kind of thing going on, you might, it's very hard to do a live pass in a clean way without a lot of jitter or a lot of, artifacts screwing up. You'll have to run a very high audio buffer rate in order to avoid that clicking and popping that'll inevitably happen when you have a ton of DSP eating up your resources, which inevitably will happen. So I like to do it a little bit early on in the project, so that way I get a nice clean audio, capture with a very low audio buffer size. I consider that low for what I'm doing. 128. You can go lower, but yeah. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think I want to make I think we should play around with some of these. I know I got filter noise kind of creating that kind of old school fluff sound, but I'm thinking it might be something a little bit more edgy. It might be more fun. You know what? I don't even like that. Let's just go straight for the bass line. This can be the bass line. We're going to try it again, guys. Oh, one last thing. perfect. That's a nice generic, easy bass line. Perfect. Okay. Now let's bounce that down. Right, next step. We're going to live monitor it. And you can see the feed is right there. So it'll pick it up once we hit record. One thing I would suggest to do is line up a bunch of instances of this, right? Because this is fun. And we will tweak the knobs here. Let's go to this other camera here, the live camera. Wow, that is a spaghetti mess of a monster. I need to cover that up. That's all the USB. All right, just to get a general idea here. Oops. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is on the rise, the fill, I'm going to open up the filter. In fact, I'm going to start it from here. It's a little quicker. Yeah. All right, we're going to record. Let's go back into the DAW part. That's monitoring. So you might notice that I don't have Cobalt 8X armed anymore. What that means is when I start tweaking those knobs on the 8X live, it's not going to record that automation, and I'm okay with that. Some people like to record automation, especially if you're doing elaborate layers and stuff like that. Think of it, it's just like recording animation on the sequencer inside of the Cobalt 8, really. But I am more of a fan of just doing 2 knobs at a time, and then the rest, if I need more stuff going on, I usually add LFOs or just program it with the envelopes. But you know, if you really want to get elaborate and you know exactly what you want to do, or you need more than 2 hands and you can't grow an extra pair, then you'll want to consider, you'll want to consider doing that if you have a lot of ideas and you need them all to play out while you're live capturing it. But for this one, I'm just doing a basic filter rise. So. And I'm going to hit record, and then we're going to be, oh, you know what? When I went there, it armed Cobalt. I need it to arm audio. There we go. And we're going to title this right away. Cob Bass. Oh, you know what? Cob Bass 1, because we might do a dual layered bass. Why not, right? Let's say we got it. Perfect. All right, so I don't think I'm going to have to make any major corrections to that, because if I really need to, for example, move these, move the phrasing around and have it just do this the whole time, I can just loop it. Which is probably what I'll do when it's actually starting to cook. Right? So, but for now, I'm just going to leave it as the whole thing. Because why not, right? Okay, now, if I was using a custom, whoopsie, there we go. You guys couldn't see what I was doing. Sorry about that. Let me go back and just show you again. Yeah, if I wanted to loop it, as you can see, that's what I was doing, is basically hitting Command D and just looping the phrasing. And that's kind of why I changed the phrasing up a bit, to give it some flexibility, because nothing's more of a big pain in the butt than having to go back and record, you know, an old MIDI, you know, re-record stuff from MIDI. Whoopsies. So I'm going to hit Control-C on that, and then I'm going to back out until I see that MIDI file again. And this is something I had in my notes. Show them the stupid MIDI file trick. So most DAWs have a way to save clips to library. In fact, I believe I remember how to do it. I'm so tired of tracking them down. So what I do is I save them in a project. I save one instance of it, and I deactivate it. All that means, if I ever need to go back there, I can. And let's not forget that part. Oh, it's still down there. Excellent. Yeah. And deactivate it. Control A. Oh, that's not deactivate. What is it? There we go. All right. Just tuck that away. All right, let's change the preset. And then we're going to do, so we'll do one here, and then we'll do one on the M. We'll have them both going. We'll have them interact with one another. Oops. Let me just check the messages, make sure everybody's okay. Okay, guys, everything going smoothly. All right. So what are we going to find next? Probably some kind of ARP, maybe? An ARP. Oh, well, we did say we were going to do a progressive, you know, chord lead, or a chord progression. So let's stick to the plan. Let's go to Preset Manager. Perfect. Excellent. I think we're still in B flat. Let's see. Let's see if that matches. I'm also going to get rid of effects just for the time being, especially the ping pong delay, because you can add ping pong delay in no DAW, and it's, you know, if you end up not wanting to use any kind of effects on this, you're kind of up a creek, especially if you get way far along. So I try to, you know, not use it too much. Maybe just a little. Oh, I forgot. This does not have processing on it. I'm just going to do a quick job on this. I'm really going to go ham on this one then. Once that's actually recorded audio, then I tend to go a little bit more aggressive with compression. And now I'm going to do my magic black box treatment, Sonic's Inflator. And just to make sure we're nice and clean, Q3, that should be first, because I'm doing the Q3 to drop off the low end. This is how you sculpt right here, like literally. Let's give it some character. It's just kind of a vanilla bass at the moment. Yeah, that's definitely got some character to it. All right, back to what we were doing. Oops. So this has a pulse, like a sidechain pulse. The problem is if I want to do anything rhythmic, it resets. I believe there's a workaround to this in some form or another. I'm going to try and show you real quick because I'm just cocky like that. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I cannot remember. I've done it on a few. You got to turn the voicing to mono. There we go. Yep. Okay. So this would function if we were doing, you know, does it work on stack? Nope. It's only mono. Okay, and it's because it's the global LFO that's doing the side chaining. I believe might be. Yeah, it's the global. So. You know what? This is just going to be a filler layer. Why not, though? You know what? I think I won't follow the whole chord progression. I'll just do whomp. We'll do stuff like that. Let's try it again. That did not work how I thought it would. Another thing is you want to get yourself set up for success by making it audible. And this is way loud, and that's way loud. And I keep forgetting to turn them all down. You can turn. I have my drums grouped, by the way, in this over here, so I can just turn them all down. Now we should be able to hear it. Yeah, hear it much more clearly. We're going to go right on to the chords. I'm going to skip this one. In fact, I think for time, since I'm long-winded and I tend to ramble, let's just design one. Let's design one. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be something along the lines of probably 3D polysynth. Oh, I do like that, man. Bank 4, I believe I had one prepped. Oh, not on this one. It was in the other one. All right, let's use the M. Here we go. Oh, right. I have the 3D Rise on the, or what is it called? The FX Riser. You might notice it's not in sync. As soon as you hit that, as soon as you start that clock, that transport. Yeah, see, it stays in time. Oh, here we go, some prids. Thinking this could work for either an arpeggiator or something else, but it's going to be kind of... Let's get it more trancey. There we go. I went to spread saw. Something weird going on with the sound in this thing. think I got it. I'm just going to have to solo this for a second, so you're not going to hear me. I'm just going to try and record this here without air. Actually, I can just do this. There we go. Nikes. Perfect. That was a very, very light version. Okay. Expand. Take what we like. I believe the good stuff started towards this part. One good instance, that'll do. Okay, that is solid. All right, let's find something to play along with on the Cobalt. This is where it starts to get fun. Now, normally I have it just constantly playing, and I just look for stuff, but I don't want to fatigue everybody here and just have that constant. But when it's you playing and it's your tune, usually you don't mind. Darn loud. We probably don't need it that compressed. It's really not progressive house though. That could make for a nice intro. You know what? Sometimes when you got that going on, where it's just you just want it to be a little stinger or ambiance, just add a new audio track. Make sure it's monitoring the one that you want. Well, you want to make sure you still can hear it. Just a sec. And then you just, there we go. Now, since I have local control turned off on these, and I'm controlling everything with MIDI, obviously you can't really do that, but if you're really lazy and you don't turn local control off much, you can do this, and you just go straight into the audio. But for our sake, we're gonna do it the correct way. I'm gonna record them both at the same time. If I make them an air or well, that's pretty much all we're doing here. Oh, it didn't even record it. Well, okay, here goes the second pass. Perfect. And cut that out. And then you just kind of sprinkle that kind of stuff around the track to 4. We're going to have it on 4. Don't even have to have the tail. Let's make that one real. There we go. There we go. Okay, so Perfect. Okay. Oh, I forgot. L2 adds a ton of processing delay. I think I'm just going to use Ableton's. There we go. Limiter. And for fun, I'm going to do the old LFO tool trick again. It's not really a trick. There we go. LFO tool. No, that since it was taking audio from this, and this I believe was getting, yeah, I believe it was getting sidechained. Yes, it was, and I believe it was post fader. So I think we're just going to do 16th notes for this one. I was considering putting it on again, but I believe this does it. Yeah, it does. Okay, so crank this up to 16th notes. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Get the gain a little bit up. I'm just not sure if it goes there because this is actually where it's stepping down. Yeah, it's barely audible. Oh well. Let's try another one. Let's pull that one down here. And we'll just make it every 4 measures. Or every 4 bars, rather. Or every 2 bars. Yeah, sorry. Okay. I think that'll be one section. And let's try another section here. Over here. We'll try a new chord progression. Go back to my... for one that I really liked. Yeah, okay, so that'll be the developed part of it, and this will be a little, write out the note. Darn it all. Really? There we go. I think I got something good here. I just need to have a different patch. That might work. Maybe a little bit different. for the first time. Yeah. It boils down to this. Okay, let's move it along. Maybe we should do something. Yeah, let's do something from this part. There we go. So far, so good. Maybe a little bit of low end on this part. Okay, might do it. Yeah. Here. Oopsies. What am I doing here? There we go. That should do. Okay. Let's get that on. Let's get that down. Record. Well, you get the idea. Let's just move. Let's move on. Let's get something down on the. Actually, yeah, we are going to have to. See, if you're only using one Cobalt or one Argon or whatever modal synth you have, unfortunate thing about only having one is you need to bounce down right away, which is why I'm going to remind you once again, it's very important to save your presets. Why don't we have some fun? And I'm going to show you a really cool thing, which is a way to make very interesting arpeggios, sequences, so to speak, with little to not much effort. So why don't I go to bank 4 and we'll just initialize one of the. There we go. I'm sorry to whoever created phantoms, but there will be no more. Live 1. That way we'll know. I'll share this when we're done. All right, we're going to turn on the ARP. I'm going to adjust the ADSR, or the amp envelope. Hold on a sec. Okay. Get something other than a sine wave, perhaps. Oops, that's the mod envelope. it's going to go up a few octaves. You can kind of create the illusion that there's more notes in your arpeggio if you add forward, turn it to like forward 2 or forward 3 even. Plus, actually, with forward 3, it sounds pretty good just holding one note. All right. I think it would be neat to create a quick attack, or I'm sorry, a quick decay modulation for, between these two mixes. I usually like to start one side or the other. I don't always like to start with them in the middle. I think it sounds a little cleaner, a little bit more pronounced when you start one side versus another. So we're going to go MEG, which is the mod envelope generator, and we're going to modulate the mix. Yeah, there it is. Now we can really go ham with this thing over here and make it do all sorts of weird transients and stuff. Let's get the decay right where we need it, which is going to determine how fast it jumps over to the other side and how much of that other side is initially allowed to be heard before it jumps back. And then just a tiny bit of attack, and even play with the shape, right? A snap is a great one. Yeah, that's a neat transient right there, or a little initial hit. Fun fact: I believe the designer of the D50, the Roland D50, the whole philosophy behind that was that the first few milliseconds of a sound, the transient, the hit. I guess they don't all sound like. But the initial transient is kind of what determines what our brain perceives as the type of sound, and then the rest could just be a sine or filtered saw wave, and we would still believe whatever based on the initial hit is that it's a trumpet or a piano, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm a big fan of making weird transients or just interesting ones. But we haven't gotten to the fun part yet. I think we've gotten that sorted out. The fun part is that we take. I want to make sure I'm not blocking anything. Okay, good. Fun part is that we take the LFOs and we turn them all to free running, and we have them modulate different things as we go. The other alternative is to make this an actual sequence and then animate it, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to do it the lazy way, which is just use the LFOs. And so we're going to have, let's find a really neat algorithm here. We're going to jump over the mix, turn off the ARP so we can just hear what we're doing here. Well, that could be good. We're getting crazier. I like how they progress. They made it crazier and crazier as you get further and further into the algorithms. For this one, that's pretty cool. Yeah, let's stick to that other one. Yeah, I like the square. So we're going to have LFO1 move around oscillator A2, or rather parameter A2 of oscillator 2. And remember, these are bipolar, so that's going to be moving a little this way and a little that way. Oh, it's not oscillator 2. Maybe, is it B that we're going to be moving around? No, it should be A. Well, maybe we have to go faster. Even better, let's retrig and make it sample and hold. I might need to find a different algorithm. It did not work out as good as I thought it would. Okay, another trick. Since we're going to be doing arpeggiator, I'm going to stack this too high. Stack 2 with max drift up there and... Woo! Yeah, that's a big difference. Make sure we're looking okay. 8 minutes left. Okay, so I guess let's get back to recording. Oh, one more thing. If you want to, we could do LFO2 and LFO2. You could push spread all the way up into the increments mode. Right, so then that could be oscillator 1B right there, and you could do the same thing, sample and hold if you want. Doesn't matter the clock division because obviously it's changing each time if it's on retrig. All right. I'm not sure if this is going to match up with what we got, but... All right, we still have to record that part too. All right, we're going to be running a minute over or two here because we're going to do this part first. And I'm also going to simultaneously record this because why not? Uh-oh. Why can't we? Oh, there. There we go. Okay. Why can't I earn them both? There we go. Okay. Obviously, the audio is not going to work for that, but let's quantize this real quick. I'm going to start moving a little faster here. Quantize, there we go. Go forward in time a little. I think it might be better as just one long held out note. Oh, there we go. It's not working out how I thought it would, but this is basically what you do when you're making a new track. You make a bunch of these ideas, you see if they work, you see what doesn't. I personally think that original chord progression we had was probably a winner. So let's just, for the sake of, making it clean and with a happy ending, let's go back to the Prida patch and finish up. So Prida, there we go. Probably make more of those, huh? And you can add a layer on top of that. Something really basic. Oops. All right. After we do this one, we'll wrap it up, and I'll give you a kind of a closing speech or something like that. That'll be on the next one. Okay. There we go. Oh, great. Wow, forgot. I did not have overdub turned on. There we go. That needs to be on. No worries, though. We can do this. Highlight it all. Command J. Bring in all of these. And duplicate them. And then this should sound good. There we go. Okay, well, there's some stuff out of place. Oh well. This went way smoother than I thought it would, though. Anyways, I hope we saved that patch. I think we did. Well, in either case, I'll build one for you guys. Yeah. All right, let me find my itinerary, or the schedule here. We'll wrap up. Yeah, so it really just goes back to finding the time to do one or the other, fun or focus. That's I always split it into two, because you can't make good music without a good mindset, and but you can't learn new things without focusing in on stuff and trying stuff and failing at stuff, as you definitely witnessed. But that's exactly how a typical recording session goes when I'm trying out ideas. Sometimes I don't actually have the idea until the next day. So it'll be a 4 or 5 hours worth of jamming, playing around, going off and having a snack, bringing back some food, vegging out, and rather vegging out over there, coming back to it, and then starting up again. But I hope this was helpful in some way. Just remember those little tips on recording, bouncing down audio. Take it a layer at a time. Don't be afraid to use presets. Everybody uses it. Everybody uses presets. All the pros use them. I use them. I make them too. But yeah, it'll be a good exercise if you take some time to jam with presets, make some layers that can be in the background, and then make your own preset. And you'd be surprised how good your own preset can sound, especially if it's simple but effective. On its own, it might sound boring, or it might even sound just kind of basic, but with a bunch of stuff, sprinkled on, extra layers, then it can really sound extraordinary. So, and that's really the key, is just finding stuff that fits together. And I think the Cobalt has so much variety, but at the same time, it's kind of a consistent character that you really shouldn't have a hard time putting together a track made entirely of Cobalt. And I certainly did. If you heard the trailer commercial when the Cobalt was announced, that's a production all Cobalt. So if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Visit us on social media over on Facebook, on Twitter, and I believe we're on TikTok also. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter over at modalectronics.com and hit the bell notification. You're definitely going to want to hit that bell notification, because what a year 2021 will be. I think any year is going to look better than last year, but I'm really excited for what's to come, and we'll be doing more of this. And also, the last kind of big announcement, I'll be doing some very focused mini banks for the Cobalt and for the Argon, and they will tie in directly with some of these sessions. So this one was this is episode 1, so to speak. But the next ones you see will incorporate some of those packs, and so you'll see them live in use, how they're worked in a production, and hopefully that'll give you even more enjoyment out of trying them out yourself. But yeah, it'll be about 15 to 20 patches per mini bank. I believe the one for Argon coming is called Monster Machine, and then the one for Cobalt, probably something like Silk, or something to do with some really nice analog well, of course, just celebrating the spirit of Cobalt and coming up with a lot of neat analog textures and stabs and plucks for chord progressions, stuff like that. So until next time, thank you for watching, and yeah, have fun with the modal synthesizer that you have.